Vice Mayor Young.
Here.
Councilwoman Long. Here. Councilwoman O'Neill. Here. Councilman Schoner.
Here.
Mayor Hall.
Here.
Mr. Simpson.
Here.
Mr. Yarbrough.
Present. Everyone will join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and ask that you give us the patience and the understanding to love our neighbor. We ask, dear Heavenly Father, you give this legislative body the wisdom to reflect positive decisions for this community and for your kingdom here on earth. It's in your name we come. Amen.
Amen. I need a motion for approval of the minutes for September the 18th, please.
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
This is the point in the meeting where it's citizens to be heard. Under citizens to be heard, anyone in the audience that would like to speak about anything on this agenda or anything at all, please feel free to come up and use the podium. This is your time. If you wish to save your comments to an item on the agenda, you can do that as well, but this is your opportunity to come up and speak. Please come up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Ricardo Rodriguez, White Green Energy Fund, 3390 Mary Street, Suite 124, Miami, Florida, 33133. Mayor, councilman, and staff, thank you so much for your opportunity to speak to you. I'm the Local Government Affairs Director for White Green Energy Fund. White Green is the nation's leading provider of PACE financing for residential, multifamily, and commercial properties. The PACE program provides low-cost, long-term financing to private property owners for energy efficiency, renewable energy, and hurricane protection upgrades to their properties. For example, wind-resistant roofing, seawalls, impact-resistant windows and doors, storm shutters, solar, anything that makes that property more efficient or hardens it, we can provide 100% financing at 100% of the cost. PACE financing allows property owners to have greater choice in financing options for energy efficiency, hurricane protection upgrades to their homes and businesses. White Green offers a turnkey PACE program at no cost or liability to the public, and no public funds are used in the program, which is obviously key for you as a city. Activating a PACE program in your community will help create jobs, increase economic investment, reduce energy costs and insurance premiums for your property owners, and makes properties more valuable. It's 100% voluntary for your citizens, and it's being adopted in every region across our state as well as the nation. State legislation passed in 2010 that authorized you as local governments to approve or be able to approve PACE in your districts or in your governments. Currently, since the inception, over 117 municipalities since 2010 have joined White Green, and 12 counties have joined and offered PACE programs in their district. Currently here in Volusia County, we are under review and adoption by Port Orange, New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, Oak Hill, and the county is also taking a look at it. We are currently active in Central Florida, in Orlando, Winter Park, Longwood, Satellite Beach, and Hillsborough County. We're also South Florida heavy, so along the state, we're pretty well covered. In order for your residents to be able to enjoy the benefits of a PACE program, you all have to approve it through a resolution. And that's obviously why I'm here today. Currently, 12,000 properties have benefited from using PACE throughout the state, totaling over $250 million in energy efficiency and hurricane protection upgrades to residential and commercial properties. We have certified more than 1,300 contractors in the state, and obviously are doing so more and more every day, creating over 4,000 jobs and adding $7 million in economic stimulus and $30 million in insurance savings across the state. By providing PACE, you can achieve economic development, job creation, and obviously your overall policy goals here on the city without additional administrative, legal, or financial ties that you guys would have as a city. This means that we can obviously offer, once you guys become a joining member of a PACE program, PACE financing to your citizens at no cost or liability to the government. I'll be obviously sending information to you all more in detail in the coming days, so you guys have it and review it. I'd be more than happy to set up, obviously, a meeting with your office later on and give you more information. And that was it. I'm just going to be in the area in the next couple of days. I'm a local Central Floridian, so I'm just doing my rounds, and I appreciate everything you all do, and God bless you guys for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Send it to my office if you would, Rodriguez.
I'll be sending it to you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience would like to speak about any issue on the agenda or not on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council for city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Let me bring you up to speed on the status of post-hurricane recovery. We have power, it's my understanding we have power to everyone in the city now. We have all of our lift stations up and operating. We are having difficulty, as I've explained to all of you one-on-one, in securing the number of trucks we need for hauling. Later in your agenda, you're approving some action I took early on that we think will qualify for FEMA, pretty sure we'll qualify for FEMA reimbursement, and that was the leasing of up to 7 trucks. These trucks were leased primarily in order that we could get down on South Palmetto and get the flood damage picked up. It was a sanitary issue. It was couches, mattresses, clothing, drywall, you name it, it was drugged to the curb. We've even been able to pick up the debris, the landscape debris that was saturated. It's a lot better. We still have, everything picked up from US 1 east to the river. That includes Sandusky and another road down through there.
Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy. We did 2 runs on South Palmetto. We still have debris coming out from the apartments. They are being noticed and required to pick it up immediately with a fee. If they don't do it, we're going to charge them. The residents, we've got a little bit more patience with it, but it was a stretch to go down there and pick up the debris from the multifamily. We did it. We didn't have to do it. Some cities refused to do it, but we did it. We thought it was the right thing to do, but after 2 hauls, it's time that they start stepping up and taking some responsibility for the tenants. Right now, we are focusing, trying to get our corridors opened, our minor collectors, Golfview, Ridge, Magnolia, Anastasia. We're trying to pick up around Seagrave here in the school to make it safer for the kids and the parents dropping the children off. Branching out from there into the residents. We have 2 Ashbrit claw trucks in town, and they are much more efficient than our dump trucks that we're using and city personnel and front-end loaders. They also don't have to go to the landfill. They just have to go to Holly Hill, has a site set up through Ashbrit with its chipped and hauled to the landfill. So the route's quicker than what we're accustomed to, which is a positive. Unfortunately, they refuse to focus on the corridors we're directing them to focus on. They're going to start in one area of the city and they're going to finish it. So we're having to do these corridors with city personnel, city front-end loaders, and leased equipment. But that's the bad news, because it takes a long time, and it's a long drive to the landfill, coupled with the fact the landfill today, or this week, decided to start on regular hours, which means they are open till 5 o'clock or 5:30, and then they're open a half a day on Saturday, and they're closed on Sunday. That hurts the city leased equipment, because we are going to the landfill with that. That's not an Ashbrit shipping operation that they're able to send their equipment to. Late this afternoon, we heard from Ashbrit, who says that we should be receiving by Saturday, in operation maybe that afternoon, but for sure Sunday, 6 to 7 more trucks. They're finishing up in St. Johns County, as I understand it, and the owners themselves have contacted Mr. Gillis, and
we'll wait and see. You know, we've heard that before. But if they are able to mobilize at that level, we hopefully will be able then to stop leasing the equipment, and we can knock things off around here in a couple of weeks. The debris is not as severe as we talked about before, as we had with Matthew last year, but the damage to the riverfront properties sent our overall damage higher than it was with Matthew. You follow me? And y'all drive the town, you know what's going on. But we have no skid steers with this equipment yet. It's from Ashbridge. We're having to use our front end loaders, so we're having people assigned to them and trying to pick up, make sure that it's moved out from that fire hydrant, it's moved out from that tree limb, so the equipment or that power line, in order that, you know, they can try to make a thorough sweep the first time. So bear with us. I think that you should be proud that we have a lot of resources out there. It's regrettable that one of the three haulers was the only one that would respond, and it's delinquent, and it's a little skinny in its response at this time. This Saturday at 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., a volunteer cleanup is being held at Reed Canal Park to try to get in there and clean up all that debris that's back there from the hurricanes. I think you did an outstanding job on the work you've done in there so far, Greg, and I commend you. If we can get some people out there picking up limbs and piling them up, we can move them it'd make life a lot quicker and a lot simpler, and would help us get ready for the Enchanted Forest coming up. So if you know anybody that's got a lot more energy and they want to help the city, that's the time, 8 a.m. You come in off of Reed Canal, is that correct? And we'll be there with water. And bring your gloves is all you need to bring. PBA contract. If you remember at the last meeting, I asked you to do me a favor and seriously consider not making that contract retroactive, because it's a bad habit to start. We started the negotiations in April. The vote was supposed to have taken place yesterday evening. We were notified that the union wants to move it to Friday. I'm going to ask you, if you have no problems, I can recommend to them, if they adopt it in the this month, that you will honor it, even though you will not penalize them because it's ratified in October. Did that make sense? If they approve the contract as proposed, like the contracts that were approved by the other two unions this month, and it doesn't get to you for ratification until the next October meeting, they are not penalized with a non-retroactive clause. Anybody have a problem with me representing that to the union?
So when do it go into effect, October 1st?
It'll go into effect October the 1st. Now, it's just like the others, you know.
Right.
You know.
But we won't rectify, we won't vote on it until the middle of October.
Right. You understand the question?
Yes.
Anybody have a problem with me representing that too? Because they will be approving it in September, okay? All right. Let me remind you of two items. One is Thursday, you're hosting the League of Cities, Volusia League of Cities. I look forward to seeing all of you there. We thank you for your contribution to that, Scott. Appreciate it. And finally, your next council meeting is October the 10th. That's all I have to report. Any questions? Oh, yeah, I just got that in. Thank you. If you noticed, I might want to announce this for you. The Government Finance Officers Association just sent out a news release where they recognized the city of South Daytona as in excellence in financial reporting for this year. So that's good. Congratulations, Lori. Congratulations, Kevin. And congratulations to the rest of the department. Thank you. Anything else?
City Attorney's report.
No comments.
Number 8 is a tabled item. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Number 9 is old business, none. Number 10 is new business. Scott, if you would, Resolution 17-18, please.
Resolution number 17-18 for title only, for final reading. A resolution of the City of South Daytona, Florida, adopting the final millage rate for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018, and providing for an effective date.
I need a motion, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
This is a public hearing. If anybody in the public would like to speak on Resolution 17-18.
Mr. Mayor, I need to read something into the record, if I may at this time.
Certainly.
All right. The resolution before this council this evening represents a millage rate that's higher than the rollback rate of 6.966 in order to continue the restoration of undesignated reserve balances back to within our policy levels, and to meet a scheduled debt service increase and a scheduled balloon payment in the future years. The City of South Daytona is proposing a rate of 7.80. The millage rate reflects, including above the rollback rate represents 11.9%, and the existing rollback rate, as mentioned, is 6.966%.
Now, once again, this is a public hearing. If anybody in the public would like to speak for or against Resolution 17-18, now is your time to come up. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council for discussion. Anybody?
Nope.
Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Scott, if you would, 17-19, please.
Resolution number 17-19 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of South Daytona, Florida, adopting a final budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018, and providing for an effective date.
I need a motion, please.
Second.
This is also a public hearing, or public hearing. If anybody in the public would like to speak for or against Resolution 17-19, now's your time to come forward, please. Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Yarborough, any other staff?
Just to touch on the highlights of what's in your budget. First of all, it's awfully austere. All of you have spent hours going over this. We've held public hearing. The highlights basically is that you're offering the employees this is the first year of a 3-year under the contracts of a 2% COLA and up to a 1.5% merit. It's been budgeted at 3%. You've taken the personal leave payout program and narrowed it down to allow 75% of the eligible cost limited to $100, which should reduce that payout significantly. You you're transferring $400,000 into the general fund undesignated reserves. You're taking $166,537 to the general fund reserves for future debt service payment, in addition to the $400,000 you're putting in undesignated reserves. You have a contingency operation of about $52,500 for things that will come up that you will think that you'll need to fund before the year is out. You have a couple of large capital projects, and these are all substantially funded with grant monies. One is the US 1 Big Tree intersection improvements, which we're going to have about 20,000 in, but they're doing in turn lanes and traffic signals. You have the Big Tree Road Shared Youth Path, which is $657,000, which has been discussed extensively. And we have the median landscape project that was interrupted with the hurricane at around $380,000. The rest of this is basically maintenance, and you have a replacement for your number 8 US 1 Palmetto lift station for $86,000, which I think you desperately need in light of this last hurricane. You also have money budgeted for your contribution to the First Step shelter for $30,500 for the homeless. You also have budgeted $11,455 from CDBG, which is grant funds, community development grant funds for Hope Place. And I can keep going, but I think that touches on the highlights. Any questions?
We good?
We're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Vote carries. Scott, if you would, 17-24, please.
Resolution number 17-24 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of South Daytona, Florida, waiving formal bidding of contracts for the removal of debris caused by Hurricane Irma and authorizing the city manager to proceed with contracts for equipment rental and/or debris removal to ensure the public's health, welfare, and safety.
Need a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, let me tell you what we're asking you to do. We're asking you, in essence, to approve and memorize what has taken place. After the hurricane, as I mentioned earlier, we needed to get South Palmetto picked up. We needed to get some equipment in here to restore our streets and our sidewalks. And we have 2 contracts here that we entered into. Both of them were capped at $25,000. Of course, we're going to end up spending more than that with this authorization. Hopefully not a whole lot more. We want to make sure that it is recorded for FEMA reimbursement purposes, because legally I can do this. I don't like it without your blessings. I need you to approve the massive P&S paving that's attached to this, and at the same time authorize me to go ahead and take whatever actions necessary to follow FEMA guidelines and to pursue the cleaning up after the hurricane. Essentially, it's everything that we've talked about. You all see the equipment out there, and that's the 7 pieces that we're leasing. 2 contractors, P&S Paving and Massey Construction. Massey's got 1 big piece, got a bunch of dump trucks from P&S. Any questions?
Just curious, not about necessarily this, but when you talk about FEMA guidelines, are they pretty clear? Have they, through all these storms and stuff, they give?
They don't pre-approve anything, and that's our problem. You get them on the phone, and they tell you their guidelines, say, well, if I do this, it's covered. Well, I can't tell you that till I review what you turn in. We do rely heavily, and I think this is important for you all to understand. Our monitor that we brought in early is out here with every vehicle, taking pictures and recording everything that we're doing with this equipment that we're leasing, as well as the equipment that's brought in here from like Aspect. We have relied on them in the past to help prepare the paperwork for FEMA for reimbursement, which, by the way, we still haven't gotten. But we had a lot of promises. We contacted them because one of the monitors had mentioned to us yesterday that they were anxious about us still using leased equipment to pick up other debris in the city that was not in the flood-prone area and it would not maybe be considered a sanitary issue. And of course, if we let that equipment go, the only thing we'd have is 2 haulers from Ashford, and that would put us further behind. We need to concentrate on these thoroughfares, particularly around the school we haven't hit. Yesterday evening, we finally got a hold of someone with Tetra Tech that felt comfortable in light of Aspert's scanning response to recommending that FEMA reimburse for this. But when additional equipment comes in from Ashbrook, we have to discontinue the leasing. So I look for us to be under the leasing of these dump trucks probably by Saturday, if the cavalry arrives.
Why do they have heartburn about leasing?
They are, we laughed about that. I forgot who I was talking to. One of my colleagues said, you know, we spend more money making sure that there isn't anything
That was me and you.
that's stolen, was it you, than we do in whatever might have been fraudulently billed for.
Well,
I mean,
except
you know,
I passed one of these trucks, they're in pristine shape, or at least the one I passed today was. I mean, they're great. Why are they so frowned on cities? Just, you're usually probably putting local workers to work, you know, local companies, keep the money, just.
It doesn't fit their mold.
Right. I mean, that's the only thing, right?
It actually goes back to 04 hurricanes. They really scrutinize that because a lot of the trucks, what happens is if you haul by volume,
Okay.
the weight will vary significantly. If you just put branches in, all of a sudden it's light. If you put the stumps and the bottom of the tree in, it gets real heavy. So there are these huge fluctuations in weight, tonnage, because it gets weighed when it goes out to the landfill compared to the volume of trucks that were going out. And there's a lot of fraud. There is, I mean, they're not saying it's here or in Volusia County, but around the country, people would put false bottoms in trucks so they look full, but they're not. Or they'd have a huge pile of debris, and underneath was a big structure that was just debris put on top of it. So fraud does occur. So they're trying to prevent fraud, but like Joe and I were kind of joking about, they spend more money preventing fraud than it costs just to pay the fraud. So, you know, you really...
Fraud and waste removal?
Yeah, go figure.
Don't they reimburse on those? Don't we get reimbursed? for
We
the
do,
rental?
yeah.
We are supposed
Our goal
to.
is to
but we
get-
haven't. But I mean, so the federal government and the state government, well, government spends more money making sure they don't pay for fraud than the amount of fraud they pay for.
Well, in '04, the whole thing was they were just handing out money for everyone to buy a chainsaw and all that, just handing the money, and then came everything. I believe a year ago, when we looked at that, what's the company, Tetra Tech?
Mhm.
I think Ralph and I both said we were going to get into our own company and start doing that, because when you see the amount of money that has to be, but it's reimbursed separately.
Oh, let me
And
say-
at the end of the day, it still doesn't loosen up the chain, loosen up the purse strings in Tallahassee.
I met a lady, yeah.
We do all this, we
I
create
met
all the
a
fraud,
lady
now
down
pay
in
us.
South Palmetto, it was a Tetra Tech monitor. He lived in Daytona. So, you know, they have contracted with some here in the city, and probably more than just one, but in our area, so that made me feel pretty good. But the trucks, I believe are in here from Illinois, is that right?
Somerset, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is where our haulers, the two haulers we have in here right now are from.
Well, you know, that volume was growing on South Palmetto. It was becoming a safety hazard. I don't think we had a choice.
No.
You know, we got to get it out of there.
Well, it was really rank.
Well, yeah. It's just, when it starts heating up again, it's going to be putrid. I mean, we had to do what we had to do.
And you can't tell residents you're waiting on some FEMA regulation.
Right.
Well, we got that sort of clear, but you had a window there to take whatever action necessary for sanitation purposes.
Exactly.
What we were a little worried about was getting out here and cleaning up debris that didn't really cause a sanitation issue. Does that make sense? Like getting out here where the area didn't flood. But we feel better about it. Last night we got a call late. Last guy from Tetra Tech got a hold of me. We're keeping the equipment until, like I said, the cavalry arrives. We start.
And I don't think there's another area that has a concentration of multifamily units that flooded. You know, so you had so much of it.
That's true. That's true.
That's indeed nasty.
I know that, for your information, at least Port Orange said that you're on your own if you're multifamily. That was early on, so they had to bring roll-offs in there to bring the contractors, and they had to haul it off themselves. But we elected to go ahead and haul it. And we've been down through there twice, and it's still coming up.
I need to invite the public up for this one as well, Scott?
You're right.
I already did. Okay. Double checking. Any other discussion?
That's what I'm here for.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Vote carries. Number 11 is unscheduled comments. Start with Vice Mayor Young.
It's, again, the League of Cities on Thursday night. I think we've got 140.
Oh, really?
We got over 150 now.
150 now. All right, there we go. I was asked at the Executive Council this afternoon, where are we going to put them all? I said, we'll figure it out.
Well,
So,
Excuse me, what did we have the last time? Do you remember?
Well, I think we had around 165
Several years back.
in 2014.
Wow,
yeah.
that's a lot of folks.
Yeah, we have
Might
a
be
lot
the
of
best
people.
attended in a long time.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that come in after the fact.
Yeah, right.
Who knows?
So that's come up, and the only other thing I have to share is, I just found out, I think they've kind of kept it low-key, but the Volusia delegation will be November 3rd. I don't think they've overly publicized that, but the representatives, the senators who speak this November 3rd up at the Ormond Beach City Hall.
All right, not holding it to land this year.
They're not holding it to land. I think 9-1, but there's supposed to be stuff getting sent out to the cities, but they've been a little delinquent in getting that information out, so they probably don't want us to hit them up for FEMA money.
That might be a time for us all to show up.
There you go. So I know I'll be on the agenda for the league, but there you go. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Young.
Yeah, I just hope our citizens will continue to be patient as we do try to, the city is trying its hardest to get the piles of trash picked up. And also just, I guess, spread the word and try to help Greg on Saturday with cleanup out there at Reed Canal. So that's about it.
If we don't finish it on Saturday, will we do another cleanup next weekend?
No.
Or are we going to just, this is
We
it?
have most of it done. We have a section in the back that's really bad. It's kind of back out of the way. The park is already open.
Okay.
The park is open, but we have a lot of the front already done. It's just to get small piles made, and then we can pick them up as we go along with our tractor, with our claw on our tractor. So, yes, we'll get a lot done on Saturday.
Okay. That's it?
Well, there's a lot of despair out there. I just hope everybody can get through it okay, and the contractors are short in supply now, so it's going to be a while before everybody gets buttoned up.
Just to let everybody know, Jeannie Willard and I today went to Campbell Junior High and met with the principal as part of the letter that I sent out about South Daytona Elementary and students going to Campbell, and the principal was very receptive. Of course, he was looking for any involvement that the city could give, whether it be in person or events or money, but he was pleased that we were there and that South Daytona was willing to at least listen. So we have tomorrow morning, I guess, at South Daytona Elementary. So we'll see how that goes.
Mayor, on that point, there was something that came up. I think Mayor Penny and Mayor Partington, Holly Hill and Ormond talked about getting contacted by the school board representative, and I didn't know if you'd gotten contacted by
I have not. I was waiting on them to come here.
Yeah, well, they're looking for support on funding, so in the spirit of all these resolutions that we're doing and home rule and all that, I don't quite get it, but I'll speak loosely, so don't time to. I guess we don't get $1 for every dollar that we send up to the general fund. We're only getting like 96 cents, and it's that theory. So they're always saying it comes back to resources. So I hear their support. They're looking to cities for support of that, and leagues and various things. And I think they're reaching out to the mayors. But I did make kind of a probably not kind comment. I said, well, they don't ever reach out to us for anything, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
I'm on your time, but I do think that distribution formula the state's using is wrong. I think for some reason you're supposed to be able to, because you live on the beach, you don't get as, you live on a coastal county, you don't get as much money for your teachers, and that's a silly disparity. And secondly, I'm not opposed to trying to bring a resolution back to you, but if you get a hold of a copy, if you share it with me, Brian.
Well, I thought maybe at your it was a topic at the executives for league today. So Bill and John were supposed to just run something. So
well, if the league adopts it, we may not need it.
right, but just wanted to let the mayor know. So.
Okay. Nice work, Kevin. Thank you. Nice job, Greg. See you Saturday. Meeting's adjourned.
Hey, do you want me to bring my golf cart?